on to what?
All right, guys.
We
are live. All right, guys. So welcome to episode number 50 of Mac Yak.
Hello.
Say hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Even Grooty would do that.
He didn't. I would.
Welcome back we had a last week off because of Thanksgiving. So we've been gone for 2 weeks. But in that 2-week time period, we went over 500 subs, guys.
Woo.
All right.
Yay.
In the last week, or I think the week after we had our last Mac Yak, we gained over 120 subs.
Woo.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, guys, appreciate you guys being here, and hopefully we can get that. We can hit that 1,000 mark soon.
Yeah, and welcome to all the new subscribers who haven't seen one of these live streams yet.
It'll be funny sometimes. Sometimes we'll argue a little bit. Sometimes we'll all agree. So, but we all have our own opinions and stuff. So.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, sometimes. And sometimes we'll start talking about a topic and we won't get off of it for 20, 30 minutes or so. So, for all the new guys, this usually lasts. We try to keep it at about 2 hours. Sometimes we go over. Sometimes we're a little bit short of 2 hours. So.
That's pretty rare.
Yeah, very rare that we're under 2 hours. So
very, yeah.
But anyways, that's what we got going on. So any guys got anything going on since we've been on here last? And Grooty, save yours we got a topic for yours. So
Oh, I've got a lot of other things too.
Yeah.
Well, I got my Twitch streaming the other day, so I've started doing that again. Hopefully I'll get back to doing videos.
Oh, that's
one
cool.
thing that's changed me. So we'll see.
That's good.
Are you going to publish any of them?
Yeah.
No,
Just
they're
check.
Patreon exclusive.
And there's my cuckoo clock in the background telling me it's 8 o'clock.
Do not disturb,
It's
Greg.
a little,
Come on.
It is.
about 2 minutes.
It is, but it's close. I told Jay it's been running like that for about a week, and it's only 2 minutes off in a week. It's not bad for a analog, clock that doesn't run on electricity or have anything. So.
Right.
Yeah, I'll stick to my Apple Watch.
All right, so
Well,
go ahead, Grooty.
I do have one thing.
What's that?
Oh, here we go.
I managed to find something Jay's been looking for years. That's where start up my Mac Oddware series.
Uh-huh.
I found the zip drive faceplate for an MDD.
And Jay's going to kill. He already said he was going to kill you.
Yeah.
If Jay had a use for a zip drive, maybe he would, but I don't know.
I think Jay has some zip drives, but
Yeah, a use for them.
But I picked up a redundant G4 power supply to play with, so I'm not entirely sad.
How does that work?
How did you get that?
Well, there was someone on
No, so you actually got it from him. Lucky.
no. There was someone on Twitter, and Nick posted about that. Said, look what this weird error that popped up on my Mac OS 9, and there was a little window that said, "There's a problem with your redundant power supply." This guy's just chilling on a G4. So he took the power supply out, took it apart, and it turns out to be a redundant server power supply for the G4. So I lost my.
you were like, I
I
want.
don't know which word I can use on here, but
I was just
I
Hey,
saying
lost
we're-
it, and I'm like, I want it. So Nick got him on Discord and started talking to the guy, and he shared some more photos. And based off of the photos, I found another one on eBay that I got, and I'm gonna play with it. And if it works, I'm gonna break half of it on purpose to see if I can get that same error, and it's gonna be fun. So.
It's probably just OS 9 having a heart attack. There's probably nothing wrong with it.
Well, and I completely forgot. He showed me a picture of the website back when the G4 had a server version. It shows it on the website that one of the options is a redundant power supply, and I never even knew it existed. So,
well, that means the next time I look at a G4 server, I'll know to look for one of
Well,
those too.
also, Grooty needs to understand that Rage, you have 2 power supplies and you only need to use one.
Oh, I know.
And the Ethernet connection is not a data connection.
Dude, I literally only spent 20 minutes on that
I
entire
know, but if
video.
you'd-
That was filming
but
and
if you'd
everything,
like-
although it did take me another 10 to
But if you'd
edit.
actually watched Jay's video first, you would have known that.
I'm glad I talk about old crap nobody can correct me on.
Yeah.
I'm just here busy drinking my beer, so you know.
His redacted beer.
Grooty doing what Grooty does best.
All right, guys. So let's go ahead and start jumping into some topics here. I know we got about 7 topics I'm looking at right here. So we'll probably be 2 hours plus tonight, knowing us.
Great. There goes my dinner.
I
No,
thought you already ate. So.
I'm joking, man.
All right. First up on the plate is YouTube is changing their terms of service on December 10th, and how will it affect most YouTubers, including this channel? So what I've read and what I've seen other YouTubers talk about so far is that because of the COPPA, which is Children Online Privacy Protection Act or something like that, I think that it's COPPA.
From 98, yeah.
That because of that act, they've got to cut out a lot of stuff. So now we have to make these videos non-kid friendly in order for you to even live chat with us, because if you make it kid friendly, you can't leave comments and you can't chat live.
Wait, we have to.
You have to make it non-kid friendly.
So we need to start
Huh?
cursing.
You need to start. What are you talking about?
I've been on my best behavior
We-
ever since MacYack started.
Well, basically, the only thing we need to do is make our videos really boring for kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
I think we
So
accomplished
interesting
that
for
already.
adults, but boring for kids.
So make it all black and white.
So
Subtitles.
no
Right.
cartoons or hints, whatever that stuff that Rocky likes.
Yeah.
color.
that would be called anime.
Whatever.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's called something else.
Oh, yeah. Only on the off days.
But
But who determines if it's kid safe or not? Like I can say shit all day
I
long.
give you
But if a kid goes to this video, he'll still hear me
I
say
give
it.
you 2 words: automated or AI.
Okay, so we just got to drop an F-bomb once an hour and we're good.
Probably.
Well, Jay's got that corner.
But-
set, so.
You don't have to worry about it, because before I could even get this video to go up, there's a new step now that I have to do, and you have to click the little thing that says, "Is this kid friendly or not?" And yeah,
Oh, okay.
but
No,
it explains it, and it says if you make it kid friendly, then chat and comments will be disabled on the video.
Now, I read something, and I only read like half of a post about it, and I was just scrolling through social media or whatever. It shows my attention span. But I read that if you don't like say yes or no to this, apparently like they could remove your videos or something silly, like on your account.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking because I have a secondary account that I probably haven't logged into in like 10 years, but I'd like to keep the
Yeah.
videos on there. I was just
I think a lot of people are talking about you need to go back and look at your old.
so that's what I'm doing now. Let me log into that.
Well, Raw Elements has it. Every live stream will start with a 1-minute period of just cursing. I'm down for that.
He should see.
So
he
while-
should.
We
While the
changed
intro plays, while the intro plays, we'll have Jay's face, and he's just like flipping off people, and his mouth is all like shouting.
We'll just play a session of UT 2004.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say all they got to do is watch us play UT 2004.
Or we have 8.6 on the loading intro, so we'll just have 9, and then Jay will just be screaming at 9 for a while.
And then Jay's
Oh,
wife.
you just put a little promo of Virtual Valerie in there.
Jay's
So-
wife comes in there and says,
Yeah.
"That's tricky because when it's really cold, you might see nipples through the shirts."
What the
That's
hell are you
Wendy.
talking about
That's
over
your
there?
wife.
Fresh coffee.
I did. Wow, that opens up the door to all kinds of trouble. I think she was talking with Rocky, and that never ends well when those two start talking together.
Well, now Greg's dead.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
So
Ready
the
to put
long
up
and
the
short of it is that we, as MacYak, we're okay. We got all the check
I
boxes
think so.
checked, and
I think
everything's
so.
cool.
Now, the other thing, a lot of YouTubers I was seeing talk about it, not only for this part, but because they're changing some of their terms of services, that if your channel is not making YouTube money, then they have the right to start deleting your videos and getting rid of it. Now, I don't know how true that is, but I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah.
Now, what's going on here is they're just covering their bases now and actually putting it. I actually read and watched about this about 5 minutes before the
Wow.
show
He
went
actually did
live.
research before something.
But you won't look at the PDF for the topic.
And he won't look at
Basically,
your
what
video
they're-
before he makes a video.
Basically, what they're saying is they're just basically telling you they have the right to remove your stuff for various reasons, but they've always had that right. Now they're just stating it,
Ah, okay.
so nothing changes there.
Well, I logged into one account and set that setting. It's very easy to do. You just go to your YouTube studio, you get a banner right up the top. It's a blue banner. You click channel settings, and you have three options. Either my channel is for kids, my channel is not for kids, and then there's another option that says I want to set my videos at an individual basis. So I just went in there and said not for kids, and that's it.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to see how this plays out. You just called my wife a virtual
No,
prostitute, so I'm just going to
she
sit
said,
back.
she said
see what
Jay
happens.
met me on cam.
Because she is going to get in the car, drive to your house. And
Jay, you have access to
Beat
the
them
account
across
too.
the
You could
room.
have said it.
Can she
Huh?
put some goodies in the trunk before she comes all this way? Because if you're passing by my area, I might as well give you
But
some
she
stuff.
said,
You're supposed to send
she
me
goes,
stuff.
Jay met me on cam. There has to be a level of perv there. What would you guys take of that?
It's true.
Love you, T.
Jay
There's
did
a-
meet her on
Love
cam.
is-
I've heard
There's
this
a lot
story.
of perv here. That's a different topic.
See, we're off topic
No,
already. We're
we're-
off to a great start.
Yep. That was 12 minutes, 30 seconds. We did all right.
Okay, there we just got the even worse part of it where she, she talks about what she was talking about you on camera.
This is going to get good.
Oh.
I'm approving all the comments.
Me too. Oh, another moderator just handled this.
So technically you had boobs on there.
Who's Michael S? Michael S is Michael Stanhope, who probably fell asleep or is.
Yeah, Mike's
something
Mac
else.
Shack.
Mike's Mac Shack. So he's our sixth guy that usually is here. Rocky's the one that hasn't been here in a while. So we're like, whoa, you know,
We're flip flopping back to the way we
Yeah.
were.
because yeah, sad Mac.
Excuse me.
Whoa.
Dude.
Stop with the beer
will pick
already. Wow.
Okay, we're 13 minutes in. We covered cursing, burping, farting, breastfeeding,
So-
nipple
And I've
shirts.
already had my
It's
first
going
beer.
Yeah,
really
I don't.
Well, it's been a fun night, guys.
But
See
as
you
far
later.
Yeah.
Go up from here.
as far as the topic goes, I don't think we're going to be affected by this at all. So it's kind of a non-issue, but I just wanted to bring it up
All right.
to folks to let you know that.
Yeah, because a lot of our viewers have a YouTube channel, and maybe you upload a video once a month or a few times a year, and you may not be aware of this setting. So it's just something to be aware of. Just like I said, just log in, tap your little avatar or account icon on the top right. Just click on that. Click on YouTube Studio. You'll get a pop-up thing at the top, a little banner that pops down. Just hit change
But
settings.
see,
You're good.
here's the thing, though. Even
Yeah.
if you set that, what is YouTube doing to stop kids from making an account?
They're
And
not doing anything. This is all legal thing.
I know.
For them to be like, oh, well, we did
Kids
this.
can still watch it.
exactly. That's why I don't get
Yeah.
it.
Well, the YouTube Kids app might also filter these videos or make a parent tap an extra step.
Yeah, the
I'm
kids
just
app
not
is
my
really
butt, I have
strict.
No
Yeah.
idea. So it's probably just one more step for
But
them.
I'm
to
telling
check
you
the
what,
box.
kids are smarter today because they will go and they could get around all that stuff now. So
All right, what's the official age that you're allowed to use Facebook at?
think it's
13.
13.
How
14.
many freaking 10-year-olds are there?
Exactly.
trolling?
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
Facebook's official age is
Mhm.
13 because I had to review that for my daughter
Yep.
to make sure if I really wanted to let her up there to communicate with family. Of course, I monitored her account.
Yep. So,
Weird.
but anyways,
Hey, Big Brother because it's called I'm the Parent. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the same with my kid. When he gets an hour a day on the iPad, and you can set a timer, and however he spends that hour is up to him. But when we're on the couch and I'm watching YouTube, I watch this guy fixing a car or something that is completely harmless. This guy's just fixing an old Volkswagen, whatever he happens to find, and then he wants to watch that same video on his iPad, and we can't find it. Oh, be right back one second.
Uh-oh. And Jay is gone right now.
Jay,
It was rest in
Yeah.
peace, Jeff. Rest in peace.
He's like, oh, she's already getting angry at him.
Well, I think
She's
the
gonna
point
show
he
up in
was.
the chair when he turns the camera back on.
He'll have a big old black
I
eye.
think the
Yeah,
I think the point he was getting at was because since it's an adult video, it won't show up on the YouTube app he uses.
Exactly. It won't show
Yeah.
up on there,
Yeah.
but kids can go to the
Fuzzy Monster.
website. And what stops them from there, unless they...
Web browser restrictions.
Well, that just comes down to good or bad. Parenting.
Exactly.
Oh,
there's
look,
nothing
Jay's back.
Google can do about that.
yeah. I mean,
I'm gonna be having dinner real quick, so
All
I'll
right.
be right back.
So,
Sure. Yes. I mean, anyone who's there's again a balance of like the parent has to be tech savvy enough to set up restrictions because a kid's gonna figure out, oh, I could launch this web browser and then I could go to the YouTube here, or I could go to a website that acts as a proxy gateway. And the kids they don't even know what they're doing. They're gonna find out from another kid, oh, this is how you do that, and they're gonna figure it out. I mean, that's how I did it.
Well, yeah. And if you think about it, okay, coming from my perspective as a parent, I will tell you one thing. I have always considered the internet just like going out into the real world. I need to educate and
A
guide my
bad
child.
neighborhood in the real world.
Oh, gee. But yeah, that's true. I would agree with that actually. But you got to guide and educate your child before you let them on the internet without you hovering over them like a hawk. And you got to moderate it. You got to keep track of it. Any of these parents that just hand their kid an iPad and go, or a computer or whatever, and just let them go at it. And they don't do any education, they don't do any kind of prevention or preventative control measures, are a bad parent, in my opinion. I'm sorry. I call it as I see it. You're an idiot if you don't consider the internet the Wild West of the world.
Don't talk to that man. He thinks PowerPC machines are yucky. We don't want to converse with him.
yep. It's funny because someone was talking about, because of our new background, Jay's got the messenger window, and he's got a Skype logo in a messenger window. Yeah. All right, guys, we're ready to move on to our next topic. I think we beat this one in. So the next one, Rocky's probably going to have a little bit to talk about this, and Brock in the comments there should have some info about it too, is Apple and Nvidia are over. If you go to a web link here, I will, let me copy it real quick and give it, put it in the chat here. Let's see, paste. If you go to that link, there's a article about basically Apple and Nvidia. You're not going to get any Nvidia drivers for any future releases of Mac OS. Not going to happen. It's done. Period. Over. So, Rocky, you're stuck at High Sierra, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Just like me.
I'm happily stuck at High Sierra though, but yeah, I'm not gonna buy into this too much. Apple and Nvidia have been fighting for many years, and I think they're gonna continue to fight, but we're gonna get to a point where they're gonna have to come into the middle somewhere.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. It's just it's that polarization that's going on in our society right now, and I think this is just another step in that polarization.
Exactly, and I think
I agree.
The problem with this is you get into a dangerous territory, and Apple's done this before, where they rely on one source for something, whether it be CPUs or graphics chips or whatever, and they back themselves into a corner, and then something happens with the supplier, whether they're not doing what they want or the yields aren't high enough or whatever it is. and then they're like, we gotta look at this other alternative or whatever. So I sort of agree with you, Rocky. I think that they're having their little fight, and they're doing whatever the heck they're doing because they're being stupid, and hopefully it just eventually comes into something where the competition is back, because I don't think there's anything good that could come out of Apple restricting you to use one type of graphics card.
Well,
It's just plain and simple. I mean, from the driver level is the most annoying thing about it. If it was just, hey, by the way, we prefer these CPUs, these GPUs, and we're going to use those in our machines. And hey, if you want anything else, use eGPU, bay or something like that. That would be one thing. But this whole stance of like this whole debacle with like the metal compatible cards and like all this crap is just like really annoys me, because like it's just Apple is being so stupid about these things that, yeah, I understand you're going to do this. You're going to make a machine that has all these slots and everything, and it's going to be powerful. But, oh, no, you can only use that graphics card because we're being assholes. That's just really annoying.
I agree with Rocky. They're fighting on in the public. And don't get me wrong. I don't like Nvidia one bit. I wish it would vanish off the face of the planet forever. So that would free up about half of my Facebook feed asking which card works in a Mac. But how many times have Apple and Samsung sued the crap out of each other? They still use Samsung parts in pretty much everything.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
Well, it's like Nvidia and Apple have always had, they've been having bad blood since the mid-2000s, early 2000s, really.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, when they were introducing one of the Power Macs, I don't remember, it was one of the G4s. Nvidia broke the NDA about not talking about it before Apple released it. And they bragged about how they were going to be in their next Power Mac as the most powerful card and all these gaming performance stuff they were going to do and stuff. And Jobs got so mad that he actually cut that whole section out of the presentation and didn't even mention Nvidia or the supply of it. I think it was for the GeForce 3.
Yeah.
And so he didn't mention a thing about it, didn't even mention that you could get it as an option, and basically cut Nvidia out from everything.
Now, I could see Jobs doing that, because he did.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could see Tim Cook doing that.
Well, it kept getting worse because
Tim Cook is way nastier than Jobs ever was.
Really?
He's just more. Oh yeah, he just hides it better.
Okay, I can see that.
He's a bitch.
I totally see that.
But it's been bad blood between Apple and Nvidia ever since, even then, because of that. And they sort of kind of forgave them and started bringing their stuff back. And then they got the big, nicest chips and all that stuff for their notebooks, which ended up melting, which made everything go downhill again. And then they started making it all nice again. And
Well,
Apple just...
Yeah, I mean, I don't think ATI or AMD, whatever they're calling themselves these days, are, they're not, what's the word I'm looking for? They're not, fudge. They're not fudge. No, thanks. They don't have it's not like they don't have their own problems either. I mean, the graphics card chipsets in the 2010 and 2011 iMacs, a good range of those AMD 50 whatever 5000 series cards are garbage, and they just like will die, you know. And it's I mean, I understand no one's immune to any of that stuff, but that just like pushes the reason forward that, hey, you have to be able to have a choice here, and hopefully this is just a short.
Well, Brock is in the chat saying, and he's probably the expert guy to talk to about this NVIDIA stuff. But he says that Mac OS is moving to the RDNA of AMD GPUs, and
what makes Brock the expert?
Because he actually works for them.
Okay.
Well, he works for NVIDIA.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I hope NVIDIA comes back with the coolest card and will just mop the floor with whatever AMD has. Not because I prefer one over the other, because I want to be able to choose.
I agree with Steve.
I guarantee you, if they come out with the most powerful card that's like twice as powerful as any AMD card, Apple will relent and it will be in their next Mac Pro upgrade.
They have to, because even though they lose sight of what their customers want every few years. Well, they don't lose sight of it. They just freaking
every few
ignore
years,
it.
Jay. Come on.
Every few years.
Every 10
Just
years.
like now. 2018, 2019, with the Mac Pro and the redesigned keyboards and all that stuff, the public backlash was so big on all the issues Apple has been having. Sorry. That at some point they have to listen, and they have to get the customers back into their good graces.
Well, Brock actually.
If Nvidia is wanted enough, a few years from now,
Yeah, Brock just said his AMD 5700 RX is 600 times faster than his Nvidia Quadro K5000.
Yeah, but the K5000 is Kepler. It's many generations ago now.
But 600%.
Yeah.
About Nvidia being slower or not slower, Nvidia still holds the top notches from my understanding. I could be wrong on this because I don't deal a lot in the higher level AMD hardware. I deal much more happily with the Nvidia hardware. But for example, I would like to see a Tesla card in a Mac Pro paired with a Quadro, and really, I mean, because honestly, that combination is literally made for compressing video, doing computation, and just being a monster in that capability. I would love to see it, and I think I agree 100% with Jay on that. That if there's enough demand, and I think there should be demand for that kind of feature in a Mac Pro that's designed for that purpose.
Well, it's like this. Except 2 or 3 times in the whole history of Nvidia, they've always been number one with performance for graphics cards, bar none.
I would
agree. But AMD has
so,
been catching up to them and pretty good lately. Even here's the thing, though, and this is the reason why Apple could possibly be sticking with AMD, because they may be switching to AMD processors. Because I've been watching some videos, especially on Linus Tech Tips, where the AMD has surpassed Intel big time with their Threadripper CPUs.
Yeah, that's what I theorized would happen if Apple. I never really thought that Apple would go to ARM. There's still no proof that Apple's going to ARM. There's just a lot of rumors. I always figured if they were going to switch teams,
I don't know,
they'd go to
That's
AMD.
what I'm betting the farm on theirs, because if you look at it, like I said, the AMD processors, Intel has not come up with anything good ever in the last, 4 or 5 years. AMD has jumped leap and bounds past Intel. In fact, the last chip that Intel released, they said, oh, it's way faster than the latest AMD chip. Well, guess what? They released it 24 hours before AMD was releasing their new one. So Linus Tech Tips did another test after it was released. Guess what? Man, it just smoked that new Intel that just came out. You know?
Yeah.
But think of it this way, because we've been focusing on CPU. Oh, Apple is not switching to ARM for this, for that. What if they stick with Intel for a while, but they just kick all the graphics cards to the curb and start using their own ARM graphics cards?
Let's hope not.
Because the graphics performance in an iPad, for example, is freaking impressive. It is possible.
Here's where I get into a little weird zone, because that means Apple would have to concede back to Nvidia, because Nvidia has a very strong ARM graphics combination that they can do. They showed it with the Tigras when those came out.
Yeah,
but Apple can do it themselves.
Exactly, because they're the biggest company in the world.
Well, let's not give Apple ideas, because then they're going to solder that crap on like they do everything else, and you're never going to be able to change it.
That anyway. Well, but let's say you have a MacBook Pro with 3 gigahertz Intel 9-core or whatever the hell it's called, and then you don't have AMD, you don't have Nvidia, you have an ARM chip to handle the graphics, which, if Apple codes it properly, can function as a second CPU or a coprocessor.
Yeah.
It would be a pretty sick setup.
I could see that.
Well, they could do that. Maybe. You could do that technically now with the GPUs that you have. I mean,
exactly.
But they just don't code it correctly, like you just said, Jay.
Yeah.
Well, and if you were to go into, okay, let's expand this a little further. Who has the dominant capability to create a CPU GPU combination chip that could be heavy on the computation and actually succeed as something that could compete or beat Apple?
Intel.
I don't know about AMD because AMD hasn't really dived into the ARM market, but Nvidia has. Nvidia's dominated it before. I don't know if they're still dominating it now because I haven't bought an Android product in God knows how long. And you think of Nvidia's got their high computation capabilities. You mix that with their ability to produce an ARM processor capable set. You got something that could possibly destroy and be an Apple ARM killer right there.
Yeah, and Intel could step it up too. Like Intel HD graphics are moderately decent in the latest computers.
Yeah, but Intel's
let's
also
say-
going to Vega.
Let's say they put, and this is not for an i5 or an i7. Let's say Intel comes out with a chip the size of a Xeon with an Intel HD on that. They would slap Nvidia and AMD around enough to be noticed, at least. I'm not going to say they will be a direct competitor.
But Jay, Intel's going to AMD graphics.
Okay, even more powerful combination.
Well, that makes AMD win.
My money's on Motorola.
Power PC. Yeah, there we go.
Didn't Motorola get bought by Google or something like that?
They've got
Google actually bought their, I think, mobile company, but the rest of the company still.
I think they sold their processor to somebody else years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that by now, Apple has positioned themselves strong enough to cut really sweet deals with, regardless of who it is, AMD, Nvidia. They can say, listen, if you don't give us the deal we want, we go there. If you don't give us the deal we want, we'll just do it our damn selves.
Yeah.
Well, Brock just said NVIDIA has new cards coming up with 4 GPUs on the board combined with HBM2 memory.
Yep.
And they're working on their own ray tracing application.
But is
right?
is that trying to compete with those cards that Apple's sticking in their Mac Pros with the 2 GPUs?
I don't think so. Because NVIDIA, if you keep up with a little bit about them, they are actually on a huge focus to go for the AI market. They've got some pretty big stuff that they're doing. They're working on supercomputer market. They're not even trying to play with the little boys anymore. They've moved up to supercomputer level and making them affordable. So, and when I say affordable, we're talking $500,000.
I'll take 2.
And it's modular. So,
yeah, I'll take 2, but I got to hit the lottery first. So.
Yeah, exactly.
A few times.
I'm with you. But yeah, so it's I don't know. I mean, it's all conjecture at this point. We're just
this is our
what I'm wondering about, and we covered this many episodes ago. I think when Catalina was first announced, I remember reading either on the screen behind Cook as he announced it, or on one of the websites, that there was going to be an open API that would allow people like NVIDIA to make their own drivers.
And everyone got excited over it, and then nothing happened.
Yeah, nothing
Did that
happened.
not happen? Or?
I don't think they ever released it.
That would solve all the problems.
Well, that's what one of the things I was going to say earlier is that if Apple would just let NVIDIA make its own drivers and sign the damn things, none of this would be a problem. Because then NVIDIA could sell its cards with drivers and, we'd be good. But Apple has to control everything in the operating system for some reason.
Well, what if we switch it around? We love making Apple the bad guy, but what the hell is happening to my phone? What if it's not Apple doing this? What if it's AMD? What if AMD has certain terms that says, "Hey, we'll give you a deal on this"?
That could be it.
That was the case last year.
Well,
that was the case
Apple
until the
has
end
a
of
lot
last
time
year.
and money optimizing all of their software for AMD, which gives AMD a stronger negotiating position.
And you got
too.
a point there, Jay, because remember when the first iPhone came out, AT&T had it exclusively. Nobody else could get it.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
But they had an exclusivity act with AMD until January 1st of this year.
Ugh.
They may
You mean next
have
year?
re-signed that, but I never heard.
You mean
them
January
re-sign
1st
it.
next year, right?
No,
Then it's
this
already
year.
passed.
Yeah, it did. But
Okay.
they may have re-signed it. I don't know if they ever re-signed it. But that was the rumor of why Nvidia couldn't release any more drivers.
Oh, I remember those discussions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But Apple would not re-sign that. They, like I said, they are strong enough on their own right now with the ARM chips to. Dude, those boardroom meetings must be a hoot. I would love to be in one of those.
Well,
Stuff flying across the room, people screaming, stabbings, hair pulling.
I'm listening to Brock.
Stabbings, man. It's Cupertino. It's
Well,
heavy
I have
over there.
Watching Brock here, he said that Nvidia does not want to use Apple software to create drivers. What is? I don't know what he means by that. I mean,
I don't know, but he might be violating some non-disclosure agreements.
Let's get him to keep
Hey,
talking then. Then once he gets fired, he can tell us everything.
I can speak from being somebody who is signed up as an not an Apple, but a Nvidia developer. I am one of those people that have an account on that. I can
One
say
of
Nvidia
those.
has their own development software they prefer to use for CUDA, things like that. So I could see them not wanting to use a proprietary Apple software when they have their own for doing certain things.
Because does that mean the new signing and all that stuff? Does that mean you have to use Swift to code it or something? Surely not.
Maybe.
I don't know. I can't speak to
it
that.
might be the
but
reason why, because you know how they do iOS apps. If you go and don't and use an API that's not approved by Apple, then they, basically ditch your app off the App Store. It's probably the same reason. It's like, oh, you got to use our APIs. We're not going to let you build your own APIs.
Yeah.
that's a good point.
I mean,
I hate to cry.
Don't call me shit.
I mean, it just is really ridiculous. I mean, I can't think of another computer manufacturer that would do something like this. Can you guys?
Apple?
I cannot.
Apple?
No, besides Apple.
Dell.
Besides, I don't think Dell gives a crap. They make money out of selling machines. They don't care where the
Yeah,
parts
as
come
soon as
from.
they sell it, they don't care.
Yeah.
They do have certain. Dell is a little bit more because they've taken over certain other markets. They become a little bit more guerrilla. The only reason I say that is because I've worked with a couple companies now that have had to deal with Dell. And for one, you will never buy a Dell laptop unless you want it to last only 2 years.
That's why the government buys them.
If that. So they get to rebuy
Yeah.
them.
Well,
Yeah.
that you say that, Steve, and when I worked as a government contractor, we got new laptops every 2 years. This is no joke.
I know. Yeah. You don't. I mean, there's reasons for that. You don't have to worry about dead batteries and blah blah blah. But
Just die. They are obsolescently forced to die. We literally, the company I work for now, they literally bought a huge stock of those laptops from the unnamed ELL, begins with the D company. And literally 2 years to the day of purchase, done. It's like Apple and their T2 chip, and they went, oh, by the way, in 2 years, done. No longer. So that's another concern. What would Nvidia do with the T2 chip? Is that something that maybe is preventing them from bothering at this point with Catalina?
Nice.
oh boy.
Oh, Jay has a T2 chip.
Make a keychain out. Make a keychain out of that. Then it'll be useful.
Yeah, I got a stack of them. I don't know what to do with them yet.
Speaking of T2 chips, actually, Colin might take those, Jay. Because Colin wants to try to bypass T2s.
I just want to make a keychain out of it. So if you got a busted one.
Yeah, these can never leave my house,
Oh.
as they are part of the process for destructing customer data. You don't know what's left on this chip. So.
Can I lick it?
Sure. Lick the
But
sharp
if you-
side.
Just give it to me. I'll spill water on it, then you can't recover crap.
Hey, that's coming up later in the show.
Yeah.
It's called giving a teaser.
Steve had a bit of a rough day, folks, but we'll get to that.
That's when I sign off.
Oh, let's see.
I think we basically hammered this one into the ground.
I don't even know what the topic was.
Nvidia and
Oh,
yeah.
right. Apple and Nvidia breaking up.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, Jay, for some reason you didn't give me a topic 3 overlay, so we're gonna have to wing it.
Accusing me, bro.
I'm
Let me
accusing
check.
you.
Dude, really?
Oh, yeah. I
Come on.
completely forgot
Yep.
about That one. That should be in the news section anyway.
Oh,
It
well, we
should
could
be
talk
in the
about
news
that
section,
one.
I
Yeah,
think.
so why don't we?
Okay, we'll skip it then. Because
Makes
I'm
me
looking
look
at it, I'm
better.
like, wait, that doesn't match. All right, so let's go ahead and move on here. Next one is, and this is something I noticed the other day when I was trying to update our wonderful Pages doc that we have, that Jay has hosted on iCloud, so we can all edit it and all add our own stuff to it. But I was on my computer that's right back here behind me. It's a 2009 iMac, and it's running High Sierra. It's still getting updates from Apple because Apple's still giving out security updates for High Sierra. However, it will not update Pages, Numbers, and Keynote.
And technically Final Cut.
Well, I haven't tried Final Cut, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to try to video edit on a 2009 iMac. Sorry.
I want to
Yeah.
try that.
So those 3 apps will not be updated, and it can't update. So now I can't actually even edit the document that we have online on iCloud on that computer anymore. So basically, it's pretty much worthless for Pages. Now, iSierra is what, only 3 years old, 2 years
2.
old. So it's only 2.5 actually, roughly. So if you think about it.
Yeah.
So I don't understand Apple's reasoning why they are already not supporting it with Pages. I mean, what in High Sierra is different than Mojave?
Well, first
Innovation,
off,
man.
Yeah, innovation. Well, first off, this isn't news to me. If you guys had remembered me complaining about it and bitching about it about 2 months
Dude,
ago,
we ignore you so many times. It's,
it's
he
been
finds
like
his way
for
back.
at least 2 months, guys. Come on. But I think the reason why they dropped it was it's just because it's two operating systems ago for one thing. The only thing they say they'll supply is updates for security. And also High Sierra didn't require metal. So
Yeah, I need metal. To do
Okay,
it.
I was going to say, why? How does metal have anything to do
Let me
with?
boot up my non.
because the new apps that they're releasing have a lot of metal code in them.
I don't buy that one.
Yeah.
Not
For
Pages, not
instance,
Numbers.
with Final Cut, the most recent Final Cut.
Final Cut,
introduced metal.
no, Final Cut, I can understand, but I'm talking about their productivity apps. Okay,
well, for
Oh,
PowerPoint, what's it called?
Keynote.
PowerPoint.
No,
Keynote,
Yeah,
I can understand.
can
You're dealing
understand
with
them doing it.
overlays and yeah.
because they're lazy. That's the only understanding I
That
can.
Steve has got it. Yeah.
They don't want
Steve
to.
just arrived with the gloves off tonight.
Whoa.
I've had it.
Would include metal code according to Apple, and I could understand this in a theoretical whatever situation. But the reason they would include metal code in their new apps is for the purpose of performance in their new UI. Have you used their new UI without a metal card? It is garbage. Let's go.
Yeah, that doesn't mean you should delete the old code to support the older code just because it makes the app
The thing is, they
200.
did delete the old
kilobytes smaller.
code.
Exactly.
They deleted all the old code. That's why Colin's patcher works, because the patcher has to re-add all the code back in.
Mhm.
Don't even know what to do with this company anymore.
It's forced.
had it.
It's forced obsolescence. I'm telling
The
you.
next video we're
comes
going to
to
see from
this, it is.
Steve is what Rocky did a few months ago. Just take a walk in the woods, and just rant about Apple for half an hour.
You'll hear police sirens in the background. There's smoke in the background. You know
As your
where I
camera
am.
pans down, you're right in front of HQ.
Steve, I think is just mad that they got rid of OS 9. You know, what was that? 14 years ago.
9.3 would have resolved a lot of issues.
Oh,
We're gearing up to do a Mac Yak drunk episode where we all just load up for half an hour before we go live and then let it
That's
go.
what we do already.
dude, that'd be our most popular episode, I think.
That's when we all meet in person and we the camera won't even be running. We'll just be mess.
No, that'd be like people taking a shot every time Grooty said prototype in his last video.
Hey,
Oh.
how many times was that? Like 32?
No, it was like 37 or 38, I think I counted.
I was watching for
I counted.
3 minutes, and in the time I was watching, you went from 5 to 13. So that was a lot.
All right. So do we need to talk about this anymore, or can we actually move on to that topic?
We have some in between topics. One of them came from Aliki. There's a new video from Apple about a snowball fight, like made on an iPhone.
Oh,
have you all seen
nope. I saw it in my feed and I just ignored it.
All right, so then we're not going to talk about that. And Dana has a valid question, which we've been asking for years. How long is OS 10 or OS X going to stay OS 10 or
Well,
X?
it's not OS 10
It's
anymore.
Mac OS now.
It's
Exactly.
Mac OS.
Yep.
Yeah.
The only
I
thing that
actually
got
think-
10 left in it is the model number, the version number.
I think that was actually a smart move because a lot of these operating systems like Windows and whatever, they're skipping numbers, they're leaving numbers out of things. Like it used to be back in the day, 1.0, 2.0, 3, like these were like, oh my gosh, yeah, you know, people buying Macs nowadays, they don't know how old the company is or what operating, they don't care. It's just like, oh, it's a Mac. All right.
Well, dude, they don't even know it's 10.15 is the latest operating system. All they know is, it's Catalina.
Not care less. Exactly. So it's interesting because, you know, at first when Apple introduced these names for the systems here, whenever it was in, it's like, oh, this is Mac OS 10, 10.2 Jaguar or whatever. You know, they'd say it. And now it's just like, oh, it's Mac OS. Oh, it's Catalina. Oh, it's whatever. You know?
I think they should go with years. Mac OS 2019.
But the trouble with that is you run into the whole, you know, having to update it every year, or
they do that anyway. They might as well switch.
But they don't do it as like I think they switch to like 1.5 years, or they slipped a little bit recently, right?
No, it's been every year for the last few releases.
Rocky has something he wants to say, so
I'm thinking.
I'm only going to say this because, okay, Mac OS is based on BSD, and BSD, regardless of whether it's proprietary or not, does have strict versioning requirements that are required for versioning the OS. So Apple does actually have to adhere to that to a certain degree. So that may also be what is the reasoning behind their versioning it 10 whatever, 10 whatever.
I think that the reason they wouldn't go for a year is the same reason that, you know, people have it like a stigma versus like a year of a car or whatever, because it's that year. It's like, oh, that's old.
Yeah.
Oh, that's whatever. And unfortunately, I think you think Apple is really strict about keeping functionality around older operating systems. Wait until they name them by year. Oh, this one's last year. No, we're not going to support it no more.
Yeah.
It's just another excuse. Tim Cook will be on stage. Well, that was 2018. No, we can't.
Well, you look at
support
like
that.
Windows
That's
when they
old.
came out with Windows 95, you know, because it was a year, and then they went Windows 98, and then Windows Millennium. That was one that named after for Grooty, you know, so.
Swing
You know,
and a
I
miss.
actually had Millennium when it was new. That was the worst operating system on earth.
But it was made for
Hey,
you.
I have the original install CD. But one of my first YouTube videos was me trying to be funny and pretending I was going to install it, and then like it was like a cut, and then me being like, "Oh, it sucks" or whatever. Yeah. And
but I mean,
like 15 years
I don't
ago or
think
whatever.
Apple should go to the year thing, because I think Microsoft screwed that up when they did it. Now, guess what they did? Windows 10. Where was Windows 9? They skipped 9 completely.
Yeah, because nobody liked 8. So
because they're trying to keep up with Apple, every version since has been 10,
Well,
just with a different
and
version.
if you think about it, on Android side with Samsung, if you ever look at their handsets, they actually numbered theirs the same as Apple's. If you looked at it, their Galaxy S10 or whatever, it's all been the
True.
same numbering as Apple.
Yeah.
They are in line with them, yeah. I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I would not be against them. Just all right. Look, you had 8, you had 9. Why is 10? Why are you sticking around with 10 so much? I mean, there's been leaps and bounds in OS 10. I mean, honestly, there have been. So it's almost to a point where like, all right, we should be on like 11 or 12 by now. But I think that they may make that decision, but it's not gonna change anything.
Didn't
about the
they say
operating
that?
system.
Maybe we're just looking at it wrong. Maybe they're still in 10. Like 10 only had 3 major versions: 10.4, 10.6, and 10.11. Everything else was beta garbage.
Get me started.
Now, I would say Mojave or Catalina. Well, definitely Catalina. I think Catalina, they could have gotten away with going 11 because of what it does. Because it's supposed to open.
And the way it gets rid of 32-bit.
The cut, exactly. That if there was a time to say, all right, this is macOS 11, we're kicking all the old
It
technology
should have been
out the door,
Catalina.
that would have been the time to do that.
And why didn't they do that in 10.6?
What do you mean?
Oh,
They killed off
I
RPC.
Rosetta.
Yeah, but I think that they were
Still
like
32-bit.
trying to. Well, they were also probably trying to not scare off everybody who was a PowerPC user, being like, "Oh yeah, that's this is macOS 11 now." No, they wanted to ensure everyone, calm everybody over it. Look, you could still use Rosetta and all this. Not you know what I mean, not Rosetta, but you can still use these Mac apps and things like that. It's still a Mac.
I think we're just guessing.
We are.
Well, that's what we do best. Yeah, we guess.
That is true. But I would love to have, if it is the versioning, the BSD versioning, then that's not secret intelligence information. Apple can disclose that. Like, hey guys, we've been on this for 19 years. Here's why.
God, it's a bit now. It has.
Why not?
Jeez.
Got a point.
I mean, yeah. I mean, when did they start calling it Mac OS? Was it Sierra?
Was
it
Sierra?
Yes,
Yeah.
Sierra.
Yep.
Wait, you mean go back?
Exactly, because it was Mac OS. Yeah.
No, it was Mac space OS.
Now it's just Mac OS together.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait,
See? Innovation.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
them in OS 9.
I'm playing the part of the cranky old man tonight.
Dude, you really are. What's in that glass?
There's nothing now.
Ah.
Oh.
I just hope that the boys and girls at macOS9lives.com figure out a macOS 9.3 that will bring all sorts of amazing stuff, and I will switch back. I don't care.
I will join Jay.
They need to add a lot of stuff to it to catch up to what we have now, pretty much, and to make it a modern
I'm happy
type
to
operating system.
Updates to it. I don't need a revamp.
Yeah. All right, so I think we beat that one down. We're going to go to let Grooty take over for a second. Grooty found a thing. What did you find,
I found
Grooty?
a thing. Yes, I did.
Say it like you did in your video.
He doesn't know what the overlay says.
I don't. Well, it hasn't popped up yet.
No, you'll see.
Oh no.
There
You
you go.
won't shut up about it. So sorry.
We love you.
Well, I did find a thing, and if you guys watch the video where I reveal it, I talked about it for 5.5 minutes or something, and everyone's going crazy because they just want to see it in the video. Apparently,
Well, I think I gave you.
Showmanship right
I
there.
think
You're
I
building-
gave you
building it up.
constructive criticism, didn't I? And then someone else gave the same exact criticism. So
about 5 people have so far.
Oh,
don't worry,
5.
it'll go up.
See, yeah.
So I was looking online a week and a half ago or so for just a cheap clamshells on eBay that I could fix up and flip or something, or just play around with. And in particular, I still want a key lime, and I don't have a key lime. But I was looking through, and I saw this. Yeah, I know, Steve. But I was looking through. I saw this blueberry iBook that just it looked a little out of place. It was just a front picture of it, and it was running in the picture, but the guy said it was a 466, which I instantly thought, oh, this is a case swap, because the only thing you gotta do to case swap a second generation iBook into a first is cut a hole in the case for the FireWire port and put the board in, and you've got a case swapped iBook. So I'm like, I'm going to look at this thing. I want to see how badly they butchered up this case. And I started looking at it, and there's no pictures at the bottom. I'll disclose that. Not one picture of the bottom, okay? But I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at the ports. I'm like, that's not right. Because it's a blueberry. But it had an actual molded FireWire port into it. And I messaged you guys. I'm like, take a look at this. You guys didn't seem very interested about it.
Dude, I talked with you about it for half an hour at 3 a.m. as I was trying to go to bed.
Yeah, he thought it might have been a production demo or something. But Colin didn't even seem to be very interested in it. He was like, that's interesting. And just, okay.
If you showed it to me, you probably wouldn't have ended up with it.
When he said, that's interesting, I'm like, well, buy it now is $125. There's one bid on it. I could try to bid on it and lose it, or I could just buy it right now because I know.
What was the bid at?
$50.
Ah, okay.
With a reserve not met. So I figured if I lose this thing, I'm going to regret it. So I bought it right out.
And now we regret it.
Yeah. Now you regret it because I won't shut up about it. But I got it right here. Oops.
Don't drop it. They'll be like,
He drops it and it shatters into about 20,000 pieces.
live on Mac, yeah.
So for anyone that didn't watch the video, what's special about this is it has a headphone port.
FireWire port.
Oh, is that the thing? Okay.
The other thing that Apple removed from their products.
I was talking to Ken from the Computer Clan, messaging him after I did the unboxing video on this, and he got me in touch with Hap, the guy from a littlebitedifferent.com, who has the biggest prototype collection in the world.
Hey, stop supporting other sites on our channel here.
They haven't paid us yet.
That's right.
Come on.
Hey, they gave us some
he
subscribers.
verified that this thing is definitely a prototype. Okay. And let's take this battery compartment cover off here.
If you guys have not watched his video, when he gets to the point where he sees where the under the battery is,
I lose it.
I thought I would see drops flying across the screen.
I had never heard somebody more excited
Yeah.
than that.
Yeah, and this thing, the most amazing part about this thing is it actually still works. And as I was talking to Hap, he was telling me about it. You know, in the video I said that I thought it was in pretty bad shape. It's not really. It's got some scratches and marks on it, and the bottom of it's cracked up pretty bad. But other than the fact it's missing the original hard drive and the prototype battery, it's actually 100%. The logo is supposed to not be on there because it's a prototype.
Steve Jobs probably took it and was like, "Huh, it's a prototype, huh?" And he just like threw it around and made people.
Well, what we need to do
way.
after the stream, you need to blur out that Medimac sticker for showing the phone number. Take away the whole prototype experience.
But
It's alive.
oh yeah,
It's alive.
it's alive.
Now, did you ever fix a resolution weird thing?
No, I haven't reinstalled.
You know that. You know what? The whole time you were like, "Oh, I think it's fixed." I'm like, "You don't see the time on the top right corner. It ain't
Yeah,
fixed."
that's what got me when I realized, yeah, it's not fixed. But yeah, it works, guys, and it works quite nicely. Hap talked me into putting an SSD into it. So we're going to be putting an SSD into it, maxing it out.
Does the FireWire port actually work?
Yes, it does. If you watch this video, you'd know that.
I watched it. I was like 2 minutes. I was busy.
Yeah, I booted
Well, that's
the Titan
because he
just
spent
off of
he
a
spent the
Firewire
first
drive.
10 minutes talking about before he even opened the box.
That's when you put the YouTube speed at 2 times, and then you just wait until he opens it.
I don't need him
Actually, it
sounding
looks
like a
it's
squirrel on
fixed the
top of that.
resolution.
Exactly.
Well, we love you, Grooty.
Yeah.
That's a
Someday.
really cool find, dude.
We're only just this much jealous of the fact that there's much jealous.
Well,
of the
here's the
fact
thing, though. And this is the thing I find hard to believe, that Grooty was actually looking on eBay for clamshells to flip. When has Grooty ever flipped anything?
The idea of
Well, I
flipping
said,
is nice to him. He just towards them like
or
I do.
just play around with.
No. You said
'Cause the other
you
three
said at the
doesn't need.
beginning of this segment that you were looking around to flip. I have never seen Grooty sell anything he has.
I might
His
be
house,
selling
so
that
he could go to a
2009
bigger house
MacBook
to hold
Pro.
all the Macs.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it fixed the resolution.
Would you reset the PRAM or something, or we just yelled at it enough?
I have no clue. But yeah, it runs.
Nice. Yeah,
And this is going to be a topic of a future video, another future video of
Another
mine.
one.
And it's going to be a topic of a famous YouTuber's video in the future. I'm not naming names, but you can probably figure out who.
me,
Me.
Rocky.
Sorry.
Mac-Yak.
Yeah, Mac.
Yeah, we're famous. What's it
Are
to
you gonna take an Apple logo from another Blueberry and put it in there?
No, because apparently the prototypes never came with them.
I don't care. It looks terrible. Put one
Oh,
in.
it does look terrible. And if you look at it, I swear it looks like it has some glue residue in it, but I think it might be
Do I have
something
to
else.
actually tell you this? Just make a sticker that says Ruck Mods in the shape of an apple and slap it on the back of there. Like,
Well, no. Well, let's not talk about stickers. That's a sore subject.
Yeah,
with-
that's a
with
sore
Grooty.
subject, man.
that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah,
Yeah, come
you're
on.
getting a stack of them when you get those CPUs down.
Oh, yeah. Words.
I'm going to ship all your stickers out while I ship out those CPUs.
You're supposed to be shipping all of us a sticker, but you never shipped anybody a sticker.
Yeah, I sent you guys buttons.
See, I got these.
We all have the wonderful buttons.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Get some nice
Yeah, mine
See,
are.
I'll punch that show in there, because that one, that guy right there actually is pretty cool.
Hell yes. I fully endorse this.
But yeah, that's the prototype, guys.
It is a good find. It's
It is.
definitely.
And now I'm the second Mac Yacker with a prototype.
That's right.
I got a prototype too.
Because our sad Mac has a prototype G5.
iMac. Yep.
Yep.
I may be the only one with a prototype that's not strictly a computer.
Huh?
Your TV
Ooh.
box.
Yeah, that weird TV box, which I guess technically is a computer, but
Yeah.
half of it is.
So,
The only
guys,
prototype I would want would be an MDD.
Yeah.
Something
I
MDD related.
liked the
You know,
half
Jay, they
prototype
were
with-
there was a few prototypes with 7448s in them.
Okay, now I want one.
Exactly.
I like
I want
the,
one too.
the Mac Mini prototype that Hap has with just like the iPod dock on the top. It's a stupid thing, but it's cool. I mean, that's
That was
just,
pretty sick. Yeah.
yeah.
That
And I
one
want the with that Power Max or whatever it is, the G3 Mini Tower with like some extra PCI
Yeah.
slots. Please, I want one of those.
The
Just-
one I've always liked was the MacBook Pro. That the side of the display you could slide out into an antenna, and under the
that was
battery
smart.
is a SIM
That
card
was
tray.
smart. That was
That was
smart.
sick,
That's awesome.
It was real neat.
have cellular service on your Mac Pro.
right? Put it on your lap. Never have kids again. It's a brilliant idea. But it was pretty cool to look at.
Thank you, Apple.
Thank you. I don't have to go get a vasectomy now.
The MacBook sterile. Yeah,
Yeah, you just have to pay a subscription model. That's all.
Yeah.
yeah, right. If you stop paying us, you can have kids. No.
Here's my credit card. I swear. Just
Oh. All right. So, since we've been giving Grooty a hard time here, now it's time to give one of our other guys.
Well, it's
a
nice
hard-
seeing you guys.
Yeah, no, Steve,
straighten
you're
out
not
my
going
chair.
nowhere. Public
Comfy for
shaming
this?
time.
at least let me tell the damn
Well,
story.
hold on. Before
No, I'm gonna kick it off.
Oh, great.
Go ahead.
So we have a one generation lost of details here.
That's right.
Ready?
Yeah, go for it, Jay.
Oh, okay, I thought you were going to say something. Let me scroll up real quick here.
Oh, yeah, in the chat.
The day is December 5th. The time is me not even being fully awake yet. And my phone starts blowing up.
At least tell them the time. Not my fault you weren't fully
I'm
awake.
trying. Oh, 9:30. 9:30. Ungodly time to be texting someone.
Those are
Jacob,
I've been at work
buddy.
for an hour.
I'm busy.
No, go buy his
Be
animal.
gone, Spawn.
Amy
Okay.
has into the room.
So apparently, Steve made an oopsie, and he's
It
going to
wasn't
tell
in
you
my
about
pants,
it while
I
I shoo my
swear.
kid away from the door.
All right, so I was getting ready for a meeting at work, and I have a 15-inch MacBook Pro at work, and I have a tumbler which is like just filled with water, and you can see where this is going. And so I'm supposed to rush to a meeting. Yeah, about the size Rocky has. It was about halfway full. Yeah, Greg. Yeah. Now, I'm supposed to be at a meeting at 9:30, so I lift my laptop up. My elbow hits the side of my wall of my cubicle, which shakes the desk, which tips the tumbler. It's a perfect reenactment. Oh, so that happened, but with a bit more water, and so enough to to its credit, enough. So a lot of, I'll say about like 3 or 4 ounces, I'm guessing, water splashed onto the keyboard of the MacBook because I had it open, and my first thought is, oh. And so I put it down, and I didn't have a napkin, so I ripped open a drawer, and I have these things of utensils, and I just got a little napkin from there, and wiped most of it off. And thankfully, one of my coworkers went and got paper towels, and the first thing I did, because must have been, I forget what machine it was. It was a Dell. It wasn't mine. I was at a friend's house, and he spilled the coffee or something on it.
Oh, we don't care
thing
about that.
Well, I'm just saying the first thing he did is he flipped it upside down, keyboard facing down. So the keyboard facing down, I'm like, okay, maybe it'll leak out. So I had that on like that for like 30 seconds or so as I texted Jay, because I'm like, wait a second, if there's anybody that would know about water damage stuff, it would be Jay. So I text Jay, and he was very kind enough to respond very quickly and say, no, put it on the left side with MagSafe port facing down, put some
I was
pins
trying
or
to get you off my back so I could have breakfast.
and so I had it sort of, like a triangle, sitting down, and most of the water leaked out of there pretty quickly. So as soon as, of course, it spilled, I held down the power button, it shut off the machine. And of course, the meeting I was going to just happened to be postponed. So I was rushing for nothing, and the whole thing got wet. So thankfully, because Jay was there, I had it propped up in the nice position, and the paper towels I put up under there, you could see the water accumulating on those. So it wasn't a lot, but it was enough to notice. And I eventually took the thing apart so it would dry. I talked to the IT guys, and they were like, well, let us know if you need to bring you to the Apple store, which I read it 2 ways. Either we're going to repair it or we're going to buy you a new one. We don't care. And so I told the guy, I said, look, I have a friend. He knows a bit about these, and I've taken them apart before. Would you mind if I just take the back off so that it airs out, blah, blah, blah. He's like, you can do whatever you want with it. I don't care. I'm like, okay, cool. It's out of warranty. They don't care. So I ended up, putting the whole thing on my desk and took all the pieces out. So at least, it's not, a soupy mess in there. So there was little spots of water here and there that I definitely wouldn't want to turn on with that, especially around the battery and stuff like that. But again, thank you, Jay, even though you're going to make fun of me, that you were there to help me out.
You're welcome. I hope it works. We should have gone for a live Maciac reassembly and test. But
I am going to reassemble it. I'm going to get into work early tomorrow and give it another dust off spray.
I don't know if Steve is looking at the live stream, but
I'm not. Oh. Yeah,
I sent you a screenshot of my end of the conversation too.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
But
I so like I never like say, oh my god, it's emergency. I'm like, it's kind of an emergency. Like, can you please help?
Well, in Steve's defense, we've all been there. I once dumped half a bottle of Heineken in the center of my keyboard on my G4 Titanium.
Well, I was gonna shame Rocky for a story he told us earlier, but he just spilled water on his keyboard as we were doing this. So
he was taking one for the team and just being the reenactor here.
Hey, my keyboard still works just fine, thank you very much.
Give it a minute.
Water doesn't hurt a Logitech.
As he gets electrocuted and falls to the ground.
And Dana is dying over there in the chat.
On a couple double A's, man. Come on.
It's definitely going to have to be version 2.
Oh, it will be.
You should have learned from me, because like 20 minutes before you did that, there was like a drop of water in here, and I just put it on my, my foot here. But so I mean, there is a moral to this story. One, don't be an idiot and use a thermos or a tumbler or something with a cap on it or a bottle of water that you can secure it on, so you're not an idiot. You don't exactly. Great invention. The other thing is, thankfully, my data was backed up because I have external drives where all the data is backed up at my office. They don't do that. I requested my boss buy it and explained why, and they were like, yeah, sure. And so all my data is backed up. I'm God forbid this thing doesn't work, which I have a pretty good feeling it will. I could remove the SSD, or I could just get a new machine and the data will be backed up. So. Yeah, we're not. The MacCat crew is not allowed any liquids near anything now. He's gonna be like a nanny, like with us. Like you just run around with something beating us. No water.
I can say I've never spilled water in any of my computers.
I've never spilled water into my computers. It's always been something like beer or something like that.
Well,
The last time,
Usually when I'm mildly drunk.
the last time this happened, I was at work, previous job. I had a IBM ThinkPad. I forget what model it was, but it was a pretty decent one. It was like a 14-inch notebook, and not me, but somebody spilled soup. And, yeah, it was lunch. We were having lunch and whatever. And so they had this like tall thermos thing.
Rocky,
and
give it a demo.
a good.
He said pop top. I've got one. That's what I use at work for water.
Man, the way you were holding that, the memes are gonna explode today.
Oh God!
The computer, I think, actually had some holes on the bottom, and it was one of those keyboards that is meant to withstand, some.
The ThinkPads, the water just runs out. I think Louis Rossman actually did a demo one.
He poured.
He had a pitcher of water.
Yeah, and
poured
so
right out the side.
And it was great because that's what happened. It just went vroom, and I went to the IT guys and I'm like, hey, just so you know, they're like, what model is it? I told them. They turned it over and they said, look at this. There's a picture of a keyboard and there's a picture of a droplet of water, and they're like, you're good, you're fine. And I'm like, okay.
Well, I learned pretty quickly that if you're lucky enough, when you dump the bottle of Heineken into a titanium, it drains it all out the battery compartment.
So, moral of the story is, back up your data, unplug that thing from power, and get the battery unplugged, because if it's going to short out the power circuitry and it's going to turn itself on, it's going to fry more than just the battery. So.
Yep.
Now,
Good
Jay,
luck on 2015. I think you have to pull the whole bottom to unplug the battery, don't you?
No.
The 2015.
I just wiggled my finger in there, went boop, and the battery connector came right out.
Yeah, but you have to unscrew the entire bottom to get
Yeah.
There's 8 screws.
Yeah, you need a stupid pentalobe screwdriver, but you'll do it. So, Jay, you know some tricks, obviously, of how water flows inside these machines. My original intention was wrong, or at least for this model, was to put it upside down so the keyboard faces down. What would you suggest? Is your suggestion of putting on the side applicable for most Macs, or no?
Yes, and I told you specifically to put it on the side with the MagSafe pointing down, because it got wet. It might be damaged. There's no way around it at that point. It already happened. At least the MagSafe board on most computers, the MagSafe board is a separate piece.
Yes, it is.
And it sits on the far opposite end of the CPU on the board. and you got a fan in between most of the times. I'm not sure about MacBooks. MacBooks, you sneeze on it, you're screwed. But MacBook Pros, you got a good chance that if you let it all drain down towards the MagSafe board, you might have to replace the fan, you might have to replace the MagSafe board, but at least you got it all away from the processor. Putting it upside down, a lot of people do that. Like, oh, it got in that way, it will come out that way too. But as you saw when you took the board out, underneath the keyboard is this black cover for the backlight. So it's very easy for water to seep out of there, but to get it all back into those holes, that's never going to happen. It's going to flow other places. So
now with that that whole backing with the backlight and everything, how much space is there inside of that keyboard area to retain water? Do you think most of it flowed out, or theoretically speaking, not just in my case, but just
over the whole surface, there's a decent amount.
Okay.
But you had it on its side. You blew it all down with compressed air, so most of it should have splattered out of there.
Yeah, I didn't get to do as much of the keyboard, but now that it's all separate, the board, because I didn't want to spray into the keyboard with the logic board right there. But what I will be doing is I ran out of the compressed air that I brought with me, so I have another can I'll bring in and just blow the front of the keyboard tomorrow morning and just try and get out as much as possible.
Actually, I'm looking around to see if I have a computer open to that point so I can show you.
That's all right.
But I don't. But actually, the best place to spill water, except when you have one like Rocky, is on the keyboard, because it's pretty well covered off and it will flow to the sides, mostly around the board, into your battery, into your trackpad, and all that stuff.
Now, I took photos as I was taking it apart because I wanted to document every little spot where I saw some water.
Right.
And so when I first opened it up, and I apologize, it's going to be the camera pointing at my phone, but you'll see the dark spots that's where the water was. That's on the battery. Yeah. So that's the first part where I saw there was water. So I'm like, okay. Now, I put a paper towel in between those battery cells, trying to soak up as much as I could. The second part where I saw water was, so here's a picture of the paper towel coming out of the battery. You can see the top is a little darker. It's a little wet. So, trying to soak up whatever I could. The second area where I saw some water was after I took out the fan to the left near the MagSafe connector. I saw a little bit of water, just a little bit of residue there. And that was just easily picked that up. The other area I saw was directly under the SSD slot. So you saw a little bit under there.
Yeah.
So soak that right up. And then the only other area where I did see some water was right under the logic board. So on the other side where the keyboard
Steve,
was.
I got the picture you sent us on iMessage up on
and
there
it
now.
Probably got through the black coating under the keyboard where the screw posts are. That's likely where it came through.
That's smart. Yeah, that makes sense. So the only other areas, this is what I was talking about before that Jay was trying to find an example of. Once you take all those components away, the logic board and everything, you have this big black square under the that's the keyboard mechanism area and the whole backlight and everything. So there was a little dot of water under there. But I'm pretty hopeful. I'm an optimist, so I'll prove myself wrong when I plug it in. But
now, I do want to say something, and this supports what Jay said about turning it on its side. It's something I did not think about myself, but on even a chiclet keyboard, which is what Apple uses, they use a chiclet-style key framework. These keys are completely hollow. So the sides that you see and everything, it works like a bathtub, an actual basin for water to just collect. So you turn this keyboard upside down, what you're going to have is this little nice place for water to collect. It does. And then you turn it back over thinking it's dry, and all that water goes back in your computer instead of somewhere where it can go out and get away.
Yeah. So, I think it's huge miss on Apple's part to not adopt some of what IBM's done with their machines where the water just comes out. Now, they probably don't care because they want you to buy another one, but IBM, I think, is probably
have to
going for the
drill a
business
hole through the
person.
system and all that, and make a special. I mean, IBM went to great lengths to allow drain holes from the keyboard out of the computer.
I'm not saying it's easy, yeah, but I think most of the liquid that I saw when I had it on its side came out of the I guess it's a USB port on that side. Yeah. There's the MagSafe, and then there's another connector on the left side. What's the other connector there? It's not HDMI.
It's the
USB.
2015.
It's a 2015. The left side connector.
So probably.
You got a card reader.
No, that's on the right side.
It's on the right, I think.
Yeah.
It's probably USB, probably maybe DVI, or
No, it's not.
or is it Ethernet?
I'm looking up. No, there's no Ethernet.
No
on this. It's a
Ethernet.
Retina.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
What are we talking about here?
On the left side with the MagSafe, there's another port, and I just
Yeah.
forget the. Yeah. All right. So.
You got 2 Thunderbolts, USB, and a headphone jack.
Yeah. That's So most of the water came out of that area, as you know, it was leaking on that side. So I'm in no rush to turn this thing on. I'm gonna spray.
Turn it on.
Turn it on. Turn it
I'm
on.
gonna spray.
You should do it live.
Yeah.
Do it live at
What are you
work.
guys doing over here? Yeah. No, thank you.
Sit there and watch you make another Ken video where all of a sudden, whoa, pow.
Yeah, the whole power in the building turns off. Blame it on me.
But to
See me being
build
escorted out of my office.
to build on your question a little bit more,
Yes, please.
don't dunk it in rice. It's a waste of good food. Never does any good. The thing is, most people freak out when they
Clogs
get their
things
computer
up.
wet, and think that the faster you act, the more you can save it. And that's not whether it's 1 second or 1 hour. It'll be the same amount of wet, same amount of potential damage.
Yep.
All that freaking out is not going to.
As long as you turn it off and get the power from all the components first off the bat, and then dry it.
And the further you can take it apart, the better.
Yeah.
And then just start with paper towels, no rubbing, just padding, compressed air to get it out from underneath all the chips and the CPU, and then just
Probably just put some alcohol on it too, just to make sure. And
you could, but
Yeah, I ran out of the can of compressed air I was using, so I'm going to use that tomorrow just to make sure I got everything under the chips. But what I did do, Jay, is I had when I had the screen closed on the part that didn't have the logic port or anything, I put a paper towel between the screen and the keyboard, so if I had it like that, anything residual would have been absorbed from one way to the other. And then I put a paper towel on the other side and then flipped it on the other side for a few hours. So
any surface mount
you
chips.
gotta be careful with the keyboard though, because the keys are kind of like little tubs, so if you flip it back, it might spill back out.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, you know what? Let me sit it on each side for a while. So if it's gonna do something, it's gonna.
Now
do
you
it,
don't
and
have
it's
it closed up, right? You got the screen open on like the edge.
No, it is closed.
So now you got all the water
now.
leaking onto the screen.
No, like I said, I have paper towels between the screen and so.
But,
and
it's it happened. You can make the best of it.
Let's not put it in the oven.
No, but
actually, I was about to say you might want to think about putting it in the oven. Not any of that crazy reflow BS.
Take a hair dryer.
Not a single degree more than 100 degrees Celsius.
Take a hair dryer.
No,
why
not take a hair dryer?
Why not?
You can't control. You can't
No.
control the temperature.
I'm talking about low heat on a hair dryer, and not like putting it 2 inches from it. I mean, I'm talking about.
Okay, well, your hair is not our concern. No, I'm joking.
I have a temperature sensor little thermometer thing with a wire that I could test the hair dryer temperature.
Tomorrow, I mean, you have it at work. I don't know if you have an oven at work, but that's what I do.
That'll work, right?
Yeah, that'll work. Do it.
Yeah.
That's what I do after I ultrasonically clean one. I ultrasonic it. I dunk it in a vat of water to get all the cleaning fluid off, and then I blow it off with an air compressor. Get all the water off.
If I use a hair dryer with the cool switch, it's just going to blow cool air.
No, it's going to have
that would actually
warm air, but it may take longer to.
I'm getting to that point.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, first, get any stuff out of it, and then you're saying you want to warm it
Well,
slightly
instead
more.
of if you want to get stuff out with cool air, you want to use compressed air, or because that's going to get most of it out.
I'll bring the fresh air compressed air with me tomorrow, but I'm just thinking out loud.
Take the fan off your board. Honestly,
What'd you say?
Take your fan off the.
They are off.
But
everything's disassembled as far as you can.
But
go.
compress air underneath every.
If it is an option, put the oven on 100 Celsius, which is the temperature where water will start evaporating.
Okay.
It is completely harmless for your board.
I will check
That
my
would be
schedule
212 degrees, Jack.
Fahrenheit.
I don't speak Fahrenheit. I go with what the whole world goes by, and that's
Yeah, but U.S. ovens go by Fahrenheit.
okay. And then 10
minutes.
10 minutes in the oven
Now,
to
I don't
hopefully
even
evaporate
think.
what's
I don't
left.
even think most ovens do less than 350 though, because I know mine starts at 350.
I'm gonna go check
I
mine
think
right
you can
now.
knock them down.
He's
I'll be
gonna
right back.
check his oven.
Mine can run at 200, 250, but it's a digital. All that good.
Yeah.
Well, I got a little easy bake oven that fits the board very nicely.
Well,
Hey, there you go.
mine is a gas powered oven, so I don't trust that for temperature.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Do not.
Yeah.
It's good for making a pie. Though.
Yeah. All right, guys. So we need to move on to we got a few more subjects to go through, and we only got about 30 minutes left.
Oh, look at that.
Woo.
Hours is a suggestion.
What?
What?
I said 2 hours is a suggestion. I'm breaking up because my internet sucks.
Ah.
What'd you say?
All I heard was.
Yeah.
And now he's froze.
Make fun of it. Out in the middle of nowhere.
Got to get over here on the East Coast like the rest of us.
Anyway,
Yeah.
my oven, which is like from 2008 or whatever, it's old. The lowest temperature you can put on is like 170, but it goes up in 5-degree increments. So
That's old.
And
I mean,
that's
it's not
Fahrenheit?
new. I'm just saying it's.
My family farmhouse has an oven that still works from 1950 something.
And Steve,
That's
is
great.
that Fahrenheit or Celsius?
That's Fahrenheit.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good start.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to move on to our next topic here.
Yes, please.
So this is one I don't know a lot about, so I'm going to let whoever put that topic in here about the iPhone 11 checks location when it shouldn't. So who found that topic?
Who put that there?
Not me.
Not
All right,
me.
somebody had
Fine.
to put it in there.
Yeah, it was me. I just didn't.
Don't want to own it, huh?
So it turns out there's a very, well, I don't want to say famous, but a very well-known security researcher called Brian Krebs. And he discovered that even if you turn off all those privacy settings for location services and stuff on the iPhone 11, the iPhone 11 still accesses location info, even though you turn it off. So he contacted Apple, and Apple says, no, it's not a bug, it's a feature. And it turns out that is the case because the iPhone 11 is so fancy, it has an ultra wideband chip. I think they call it the N1.
U1.
U1. And I'm trying to look for an article.
Is that the one that helps track it even if it's off?
Yeah.
Yeah, I put a link in the chat. And Apple got back to TechCrunch later on. It says the ultra wideband technology is an industry standard technology and is subject to international regulatory requirements. That requires it to be turned off in certain locations. So even though you turned it off, you don't want your phone pinging for location for whatever reason. You turned it off. The phone is still going to do it to make sure you didn't accidentally wander into an area where that ultra wideband technology is not allowed to be used, and then it will turn it off. So I think it's kind of a flaky excuse,
Well,
Yeah, it's very
especially
flaky.
with how long Apple has been dealing with privacy-related issues and, our customer privacy is everything. Whoever drummed up this feature should have been fired on the spot, or at least said, dude, have you been paying attention to the news? People are going to find out, and people are going to scream at us for it.
Yeah, in the bottom of the article, it does say, in the future, Apple plans to provide a dedicated toggle that will turn off the ultra-wideband technology and thus disallow the background location tracking that's currently going on.
Yes.
When is that going to happen?
In the future, like, only because they got caught again. Like, why don't you put that
in the
toggle
year
in
3000?
Yeah, stupid.
Here's my one question, though, because I am somebody who does use the, find my iPhone, stuff like that. The feature that, hey, if it's lost, I want to be able to screw the person who's trying to steal my iPhone.
Whoa.
That's weird punishment, but okay.
We're not
Carry on.
friendly. We're adult friendly. It's fine. You gotta put that.
You stole my
effort in.
phone. How you doing?
You're falling back, man. Come on, so they. I got Steve going. There we go. All right, but no. Getting back to the original topic, I want to be able to disable my iPhone or reset it if some nefarious person, President of the United States, happens to get a hold of my iPhone, regardless of where they are. So, let's say hypothetically, this iPhone was in the hands of a nefarious person, and they had that Find My iPhone, whatever it is, on, even though you've turned off all location features except for that one, it's supposed to be on, because I want to disable my iPhone from a nefarious person.
Rocky, you said you live out in the middle of BFE, so why would that matter?
Because my iPhone right now is still connected to LTE. Thank you very much.
How'd you guys meet? Well, first she stole my iPhone, then she stole my heart.
Oh.
Like the same thing. Nice.
We're digressing. We're digressing.
And we got
a few more things to go through.
And we got the Brankus Creations watching too, and he's actually someone we are trying to invite for an upcoming episode. And he's going to see this like, I want nothing to do with this circus. He's just never going to email us back again.
Yeah. All right, so I think that's enough on that. We know that they're checking, and like Jay said, I think it's a BS excuse that Apple's given out that, the reason why it's there. It shouldn't be there in the first place, All right, next up, news announcement, news, rumors, and history. All right, first off, we're going to go back to topic 3, which didn't have a overlay in this. Lawsuit for Apple's Butterfly keyboard moves forward. What does that mean? Probably means that, guess what? Apple's going to either have to replace a whole lot of MacBook Pros. Or there's another meme down there Rocky's getting.
You know what's going to happen. They're going to get in court. They're going to get sued. They're going to have to pay $5 billion. And everybody's going to be like, woo, we won.
Yeah, we get $5 each.
Split it all up, and you get $5 a pop for your trouble. Yeah. And that's it.
I want $5.
I'll give you $5. Shut up.
Okay.
But
so yeah, it's nice that Apple is not big enough to control the courts, which a lot of companies with money do. But at the end of the day, and I've said this before, it's cheaper to get sued than to do the right thing.
Unfortunately.
No one at Apple is going to be lying awake in bed like, oh my God, we're being sued. Like, no, dude.
Well, no one cares. They got billions upon billions of dollars that they could play. I mean, that they have at their disposal. They could just say,
it's like this. Remember when Ford made the Ford Pinto? And they knew about the problem of getting rear-ended and exploding. But
that's a feature.
That's a feature.
Or General Motors and the fact that
it's a feature.
Jack up the ignition. Yeah,
Yeah, because it's cheaper to be sued than to fix the problem.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So, anyways, but hopefully, I'm hoping that it goes forward and they lose a lot of money on this. But all that's going to do is, guess what? It's going to jack up the prices even more because they're going to make it all. They got to make it all back. So
It's a new Apple tax.
exactly.
The got sued tax.
Yeah, Apple got sued. Let's see what other news announcements we got on here. Jay, you might want to talk about this.
I gotta talk again.
Yes.
My mouth is so dry. Give me a second.
I'll be right back, guys.
Don't spill that water anywhere else.
Well, I could go to the next bullet there if you want while we're waiting.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I got it. So, I am, in case you haven't watched many Mac Yaks or my own videos or have heard me speak on Unreal Tournament, I'm a very nice and laid back guy. And I almost
Sorry.
said that with a straight face. I'm a nice guy. Once a year, I'm a nice guy. I did this last year. I'm going to do it again this year. I'm going to offer a free logic board repair to someone that needs it. A free logic board repair or an Xserve G5 power supply repair. Because those are two things I know how to fix. So details will be coming in a post I'm going to put on the MacYak website. But that's basically the gist of it. In the coming week, we're going to collect some applications, I guess you call it, on Discord. Whoever wants their logic board repaired, you put a picture and some specs and what happened on Discord. And next week's show, we're just going to pick someone at random, and they will get their logic board repaired. So,
And I will back whatever costs within reason, of course. I mean, it needs to be caps, things like that, not like a whole new computer. Jay, I will sponsor the cost of parts.
yeah, look at that. We're two nice people.
Too nice. Wow.
No, I'm serious. I will sponsor the cost of parts. Just tell me what it is. I will a check. Well, not send a check. You know what I mean. PayPal.
Yeah, no.
And Jay, you're going to film it, right?
There's going to be a few conditions apply or restrictions apply, of course. But I'll put that all on the website. Like I had in mind the work I do, up to 4 hours of work, which should repair any board in existence, and like $15 in parts is on me.
Port.
Or yeah, but now, Rocky is helping out with that. All you pay is really shipping to and from me. That's it. But keep an eye on Discord. I'll post a link to the website once I type this up, and then we can get it going.
Oh, Rocky's a meme again.
What happened?
Always.
You got to go look at the meme channel on Discord.
I'm adding
What?
one in a second.
You're already a meme. Well, Dana said go check out the.
You got memed already. That's awesome.
Hold on. Let me find my way.
Anyone not aware, we have a Discord channel. The link should already be in the description.
It is.
Where we have a separate meme channel as well, for especially for the show.
Yeah. It seems like Rocky's like the most memed person on here. So.
Well, Greg is about to get one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Grooty or.
wait, you're memeing while we're during the show?
Damn right.
They are upping their game.
All right.
I have a 30-inch screen here. I can multitask.
Yeah. Last news announcement we got is new MacBook Pro prone to sudden shutdowns. I don't know who put this one in there because.
I did. Damn. I just.
I mean,
Yes. The new MacBook Pro, 13-inch, so the brand new 2019 13-inch MacBook Pro, has some power issues.
Surprise!
The middle looks like
surprise!
You are drunk, aren't you, Steve?
Neither can either confirm nor deny.
Where do you see a face in that?
Look at the top middle part. It looks like a nose. And here, I'll highlight the damn thing. Y'all think I'm crazy.
Anyway, Apple's recommendation is to charge your battery to 90%. I forgot to put a link in, so I don't remember the specifics, but it's on Mac Rumors. Charge your battery to 90%, turn off the computer, and then plug it in and let it charge for 8 hours. which, as we know, sounds like a calibration issue. So there might be a power sensing circuit that is not properly communicating how much charge is in the battery, or there's a battery issue going on here. But if you have a brand new 2019 13-inch MacBook Pro and you are experiencing some power-related issues like sudden shutdowns, contact Apple. They're aware of it, and complain. That's it.
And they will only tell you 5 times that they don't know what the issue is, because it is, of course, the genius.
Well,
part.
it's
Yes.
not widespread.
And as they're already aware that it's happening to a small percentage of people, you know that they're already working on a quality repair program. So wait 2 years for that, and you'll be eligible.
2 years if you're lucky.
Pretty much.
Of you having to shut down your MacBook every night and doing the power reset or whatever.
So that was my announcement. That was my news. I'm done talking.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
All right, we're gonna move on over to Steve's Archive Adventures.
I'm memeing here.
No, it's your turn.
All right.
Steve found some interesting, or not found, but got sent some interesting stuff, and I think this is some pretty cool stuff.
Where'd my window go? Hold on. Got Photoshop full screen.
You got 33
Right.
inches. What are you complaining
Check
about?
the new meme. Check the new meme.
Oh,
This is
I
awesome.
just closed it. That was a good one. We need.
That's so stupid. Sorry,
That
trying to
blows
be
away anything
professional
I was
streamers
gonna
here. Come on.
Hey, who said we're professional?
Oh my god.
I can caption that so many ways, not even try. Anyway, I can't look at it while I talk. I gotta.
I know I had to minimize it too.
I can still see it, like in my brain. This is bad.
All right, we're digressing here. Bad.
Oh, just a little bit.
Just we're fine.
You had to point out that there was already a meme there, Greg. This is on you.
Oh, it's on me.
Yeah, it's on you.
So anyway,
Oh, it's
so
good.
we all know that Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak were co-founders of Apple, but most of you may not know that there was actually a third co-founder, very temporarily, of course, but he helped fund Apple for the first week or so, or whatever it was. And his name is Ronald Wayne, and he lives in Nevada. And he famously sold his Apple shares only a few weeks after giving Apple the stuff there, or whatever, there's a picture. Whatever he, loaned them or whatever, he got his money back. So he sold his Apple stock. So I, was, as I always go down these Wikipedia rabbit holes and I read a bunch about things. Oh, there's a picture. And so I was like, you know what, let me try and reach out to the guy. I've met Steve Wozniak. I saw the back of Steve Jobs' head. So I'm like, all right, let me reach out to this guy. And so I sent him a letter, and I found his address in the weirdest way, but I'll talk about that.
Stalking him.
But
Stalker.
thanks. And so research. And so what happened was, sort of what got me to this is I was doing a little Wikipedia research about him, and he was, a designer at Atari. Like, he has a very interesting career. He actually has 2 books that he mentioned in his letter that I'm going to have to pick up. But what happened was I went on eBay and I'm like, I'm just going to search the guy's name, because you never know if something weird comes up, like a book or something. And there was all these like signed photos and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I wouldn't mind having his signature on something. And so I ended up buying this little postcard, and just like you see in that image, it was supposed to be the original Apple logo, which he designed. He's the designer of. So that's pretty cool, intricate work there. He designed that original Apple logo. So there was a print of that on eBay with the signature and his like notary stamp, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I put a bid on it and I won it, and it was like, I think it was like $20 or something. It wasn't too much. And so I get it, and I open up the package, and it's like a glossy 4x6 piece of photo paper with a very poor quality printout. And when you see a black and white printout that has color on it, you know that's a poor quality printout, because there shouldn't be color in a black and white photo. And Greg's going to lose it. And So I contacted the eBay guy. I'm like, look, this is not what was in the photo. It's pretty crummy. And the guy's like, well, you could send it back if you don't want it. So I'm about to send it back, and the guy's like, you know what, keep it. So
Was it him? Was he
it
the
wasn't this
seller?
guy. No,
Okay.
no. So,
That'd be awesome.
but that got me to being like, you know what, if this guy is so easy to get a hold of, I'd rather write him a letter and tell him hi. I don't need a signature or whatever. If he writes me back, that's enough reward for me. So I wrote him a letter and I introduced myself. I'm like, hi, you know, I'm into old computers. I've been doing some research and read about you. And I asked him a question about his time at Atari, and I asked him a question about modern computer devices and stuff. So he's nice enough to send me back not only a letter, but stuff I didn't ask for, which was awesome of him. He sent me back a signed lithograph of his, you know, original logo there, and a photo of him signed as well, and a nice letter responding to my questions, which is really awesome. So he's a very sweet guy, and seems to have obviously he probably regrets, not being in a much better financial condition that he is if he would have held on to the Apple stock. But he seems like a pretty well-grounded guy. So I'm going to have to frame that somehow. I think it's
I'll give you $20 for it. You better not send me a copy.
I'll do you one better. I'll talk to you after the show. How about that?
All right.
But yeah,
That's a cool story, though. I didn't know that he designed that logo.
You did?
Yeah.
Dude, come on. You're supposed to know
Dude,
Apple.
I don't give a crap about Apple before I was born.
Oh no!
What does that have to do with me?
I remember reading it at one point, but I completely forgot. So when I was on Wikipedia rereading it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. But he did a lot of, and I'll read the part in the letter that he sent to me. He was a chief draftsman at Atari, and it was also added with the responsibility of a product development engineer. And so it fell on him to design the structures and component installation for all of Atari's arcade games. So that's pretty cool. Before they even did the console stuff, that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yep. And it sounds like Grooty's coming back.
We're falling down the stairs.
He's gonna emerge out of that chair like an alien.
Oh, look who's deciding to show back up while we're streaming.
All right, guys, we're going to move on over to the What Were They Smoking segment. And I found out a pretty good one for tonight. Let me go ahead and paste a link in the chat. If you go to that link, this is an Apple Power Mac G5. Now, how much is a Power Mac G5 worth, you guys think?
$10.
Dual processor, 1 gigabyte RAM,
1.8
gigahertz.
processor.
No hard drive with a G5200.
$5.
Exactly.
$4.
This guy,
$7.50.
this guy wants $999.99. He must be like Steve Wozniak and likes the repeating digits. Yeah, I had to laugh at that. I was like, plus he offers a 1-year protection plan and Adobe Creative Cloud. How the hell are you supposed to use Adobe? How do you use Adobe Creative Cloud on an iMac G5 or not Power Mac G5?
You don't. That's
Exactly.
You don't. There's no way.
They're special.
They're
So
very special.
here it goes. It goes. This is Apple Power Mac G5 A1047 dual processor Power PC G5 1.8 gigahertz dual processor only 1 gigabyte of RAM. Okay, so it's already got way less RAM than you should have in it. No hard disk drive, but it does have a G5200 graphics card.
5200 isn't worth squatting them
Exactly.
The 5200 is the worst
Yeah.
GPU they ever put in.
Yeah,
one.
this has been tested and is good working order, selling as it is. And it says this auction includes the Apple Power Mac G5 tower only, comes with the power cable. Ooh, big deal.
Hold on, I'll sell mine for $2 more, and it's got the 6600 LE.
There you go.
I'll be happy to get 500 for mine.
I'll sell mine for $2 more than yours because mine has 8 gigabytes of memory.
I'll sell
Yeah, I
mine
got a
at
basement
for
full of
$3.
liquid cooled ones. What am I going to get?
There you go. That just means you have a better processor. So,
But it comes with the water already spilled.
yeah.
But if you look at his other items in his auction, I'm looking at that now. I'm trying to see if there's any other computer stuff here. No, that's the only computer thing he has.
Well, he has a lot of coins.
Yeah, he probably has no idea what he has.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no kidding.
He thinks
Here's
that,
the Apple logo.
I know
That-
what I
Just what I want, a Canadian $20 bill.
yeah. But I mean, to be honest with you, this thing, like I said, as is probably $20.
No.
I said as is. That's including shipping.
Oh,
Who would
yes.
pay $26 plus another $6 in shipping for a $20 bill?
Stop
A
looking at the
Canadian
damn coins.
$20
We're not
bill.
We're not
We don't
talking
care
about
about
the
the
coins.
coins.
We're talking about the G5.
You drunk?
So, as we
A
always
little
talk
bit.
about in this segment, what was this guy smoking?
Oh,
All
dollar
these
bills.
Canadian coins he has.
Yeah, that metal's doing some damage to his brain, man.
I-
no
I
kidding.
can't think of a better answer than that.
I'm thinking he was smoking some of the aluminum off of this G5 or something because
this G5 is the base. Oh my! Oh wow!
Yeah.
I'm looking at.
Well, it's not the base base. The base was a
Oh, no,
1.6 single, but still.
This is one step up. This was sold until like 2003 as the base model.
You
The
mean
one- The 1.8 with the 400 DDR1,
yeah.
and it's only got 2 RAM slots. This thing's not worth $20 to me. It's trash fodder.
like I
Take it to
said,
the
$20 just, and that's including shipping. That includes the shipping. Because it's good.
$80 shipping.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're gonna pay me to take it.
They should.
Please.
So
I
yeah,
might pay $20 a video card, and that's it, because that's a very durable video card. But
yeah. How long somebody's? Well, here's the thing though: is somebody will probably buy the thing. That's what's scary about it
because it has a logo.
because it has an Apple logo.
Jay, you would make a killing selling the side cases on all the G5s you've gutted for their goodie bits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Goody bits.
the goodie bits.
Uh,
Yeah.
Oh.
Just put the label "goodie bits" right under the animation of.
That's gonna be a meme.
Someone do it. I'm too lazy.
That's a meme. Rocky, you're like the meme king on here so far.
Oh boy.
Have you even looked at Discord yet?
Oh, I have seen it, and I approve. Yeah, it's great.
Oh, but all right, guys. So that's about it for tonight. I think we went through everything in our topic list here.
we did.
Unless
And we're under 2 hours, so
The only
I
thing-
figured
the
we
only
got
thing-
eight minutes
We got
left.
8
I'm
minutes.
just memeing now.
The only thing we didn't mention was the keyboards. We passed by the butterfly keyboard crap.
no, we
that
talked
they
about
out-
it. You missed
No,
it.
we
We talked
talked
about
about
that.
You
You were
missed
too
it.
busy memeing.
Yeah, we did.
Oh,
Butterfly, you mean something that's not a chiclet that actually works for long term?
hey, wait, Rocky, hold that up to the screen again. I'm gonna spill some water on it for you.
Yeah,
Too bad you guys are on opposite sides of the screen, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been funny.
Well, you got Grooty in the middle of you, so that should be a real good meme.
Grooty got wet.
I'll splash some water up so Jay gets some of it. He's been crapping on me the whole night, so it's
The whole
just-
day, brother.
it goes down.
Yeah, it started at 9:30 this morning with that text.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Guys, look at the Discord. Guys, Discord. Chat is going crazy.
All right.
What's going on in Discord?
So, since
I did a poop. What? Come on. You could have done better than that.
No, not the meme. There's something going on with with Brock. What's going on?
What in the link you just sent?
no, Matt goes, guys, look at the Discord.
Oh yeah.
If an
There's the
installer says it
Discord.
can't be verified or was signed with a certificate that has expires, please download a new copy of the installer. Oh, thanks, Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how they actually link Sierra as the download. Holy crap!
Yeah. Took them about a month to fix it. But
That's
I'll
is
be
that link in
checking
the
it out.
chat already?
Well, they're not supporting it with pages or numbers or Keynote anymore. So.
But can't
Okay,
we
stop
use
screaming,
the old
people.
version?
Stop screaming.
What really discontinues the old version from doing what my web browser in Windows
Laziness.
and also
Laziness. That's it. Laziness.
Steve already said that. Yeah, lazy.
But I can go in my web browser on Mac OS and
Laziness.
Windows.
Laziness.
I agree with you because you can actually edit it in the web browser, but you can't use the app.
Laziness.
Mozilla
Steve, you're
Firefox
such a
or
douche
some
tonight.
brave
I love it, bro. We play UT.
All right, guys. So we're about done for tonight. I think we're starting to digress really bad here.
Starting.
Well, we started
No,
off
We haven't even,
right
we
at
haven't
the,
even started yet. Come on.
well, I think we haven't stopped yet.
There you go. Now you're speaking my language.
This message approved.
All right. So
So
The link to-
we actually had quite a few people watching tonight. Most of them we know from our Discord and our Facebook. So thank you all for watching. Branca's Creations, glad you could hang out for a bit. I don't know if you were here the whole time, but if you did, I applaud you for sticking with us this long. And we will be reaching out to you to see if you still want to be on the show at some
he's
point.
probably be like, "Oh no."
But if you don't know Branca's Creations, he's in the chat. He has a YouTube channel. He posts on Low End Mac as well. He has a few recapping videos for old Macs. His most recent video was about how to properly discharge a CRT.
Oh, that's
So
a good
there's
one.
a lot of good knowledge there.
That was actually one of the
his-
better CRT discharging videos I've seen.
Yeah,
It was.
absolutely.
I like your videos. I'm just speaking to the camera. Your videos are awesome. I like them.
Yeah, they're much better in production quality than Steve's are. So we definitely want to have you on.
Way better than Grooty's.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that's coming up in a future Mac Yak. We don't know when yet. I believe he's in Australia, so time might be an issue. But hey,
he's
if we
on
can
with
have a
us
dude
right
from
now.
Sweden and Denmark on,
Well, Australia's a little bit of a haul, though. He's actually on a different time, or actually in a
Oh, it's
different
only a
date than us.
22-hour flight.
Different day. Yeah.
He's a different day than
Yeah.
us.
yeah. But we'll figure it out. And
In-
everybody else, thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the subscriptions and hanging out with us on Discord. I'm just feeling very grateful for these past 2 minutes, so I want to get it out before I turn into a douchebag again.
I'm very tempted not to subscribe to his YouTube channel because he has 222 subscribers, and that's like repeating digits. But I guess I have to break that. I'm sorry. I'll take a screenshot before I do.
Oh, see, he goes, the time is perfect for him. It's 2 p.m. now.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, there we go.
All right, he'll be the only one awake then.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
all
I like all his recapping videos, and he beat me to a SCSI2SD video, which was probably more informative than I could have ever done. So
I mean,
That's
I
all
don't
to
do a
you,
lot
sir.
of recapping work, but I have picked up a few tips from him. One of them is to make heat shields from retractable blades with springs on it. And this has been coming in really handy, although I probably need smaller blades for the work I do, but, shared knowledge is good knowledge.
Yep.
So,
Oh, these Rocky memes are great.
yeah.
So, guys, if you want, come join us in Discord. The link to our Discord channel's up there. Come and join us. We have a bunch of different channels on there. Make yourself at home. Just be friendly and nice. Don't argue. That's all we ask.
By the way,
Yeah,
someone
leave that
needs
to
to
us.
do the Rocky dumping water on the keyboard meme.
Yeah.
Dude, does your fancy PC gaming mouse have a scroll button?
I don't know how to do it on here.
Mine does.
Come on.
Oh, by the way, guys, just to let you know, and we're going to publicly shame these two, is Rocky and Grooty are actually using Windows for the show
I
tonight.
do it for a day job. Bite me.
This is not your day job. It's 10 o'clock. It's Mac Yak.
I game on it too, okay?
You're not gaming. You're yakking.
Exactly.
We're using
I literally only use this computer for live streams now.
But I'm using Skype.
Fantastic.
I'm using Skype too, but it's on a Mac and Mac OS.
Yeah.
an
Well, I'll have a
Some
Mac
people are
down
just
here that can
hopeless,
run
man.
it.
All good.
All right, guys. So if we ain't got anything else, I'm just gonna go ahead and say bye. If you guys want to say bye,
You said
will,
that so like I'm getting it.
yeah, I am.
I will pop into Discord voice after.
Yeah, I might pop in there too. So guys, take care, and we'll see you guys next
You
week.
have to like the videos on
See you next
Discord.
week.
See you guys.
Yep.